You know, I've been disgruntled with some more news for quite some time now, and I have a few. Like, there's a handful of things. I don't know. I have a handful of things. It makes me physically like some more news is my comfort show. I rely upon it. I rely upon it for comfort, for to feel good. It is the anchoring point of my week. I am doing this on Wednesday, on Christmas Wednesday, because they're not working today, and good for them. They deserve a break. They earned a break. However, for me and my mental health, it's either reruns of some more news, try to just grit my teeth through it. This is a new thing. Yay, neurofeedback! Hooray for neurofeedback! I have rewired my brain and now I'm thinking differently. So, yay. Where was I? I have some gripes. I feel like sometimes they don't get especially deep with certain stories, and sometimes they get really heavy on one topic and hyper fixated on one topic, and I understand that. I understand hyperfixation. I'm hyperfixated on some more news among hundreds of other things. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Cody doesn't even. It's frustrating when Cody says shit like, "Oh, I'm not even going to look into that. If he likes it, I don't want to like it." It's like I get like that too. You know, especially as a teenager, I was really bad with that. And I try not to do it as much anymore, but I still do it a lot. A lot. Like, there's probably something in the last month, if I can remember carefully, I would be like, oh yeah. But like, in any given month, there's probably one or two times when I would have that kind of attitude. But you gotta, those are like landmines right there. You gotta be careful. You gotta watch out for those. Because those are probably where the greatest learning comes from.
Can I think I can?
What, like it's hard?
And we're back on that train of thought. Chugga 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 doo doo. Oh God, I just why would I do a bit when I don't have a bit to spare? I'm looking for a job. I'm thinking, hey, I don't want to do this by myself. That would be so stressful and overwhelming. So what if I just talk to them? And I read a book called Convince Investors to Fund You, and they were saying build rapport first, and I didn't do that. I fucked up. I'm not good with this stuff, and it's a lot of practice, and I didn't read the part in a later chapter where he's like, you need to rehearse. Convince Investors to Fund You by Tom Marcoux. Pardon me. Tom Marcoux. So, yes. Cool book, and you should read it, or one of his 50 plus other books. He hasn't paid me to say this, but I'm hoping he would. I'm trying to build rapport with him with a little more style and finesse than I did with Some More News, where I basically just treated them like hookers and then demanded a job, and that's not cool of me. That was wrong. But I want to talk about it. I want to talk about my little adventure meeting my heroes. Yeah. My heroes. I can be a hero, baby. This is the kind of music Cody likes. I don't want to hear that shit. I wish it wasn't stuck in my head forever. Really, I mean, really, if there's ever a reason to put a bullet through a brain, it's listening to garbage like that. But anywho, what was I talking I spent $100 to go in a Google Hangout to listen to my heroes be my heroes, and they basically are themselves, you know. So for them, it's just another part of their job, right? And so they have to put on their face, and they do seem relaxed and normal. It does seem more like a Zoom call with normal people who are talking to us like we're normal people, and we get to talk back, which is a new experience for me. I'm not used to that. I'm used to just saying whatever's in my head to myself while staring at the screen, and it showed, and I feel embarrassed for myself for how I was. One of the things that really stood out to me is Cody reiterated what he's been saying about how the left wants Joe Rogan for the left. And I said to him what I said to my screen on a regular basis is, you are the Joe Rogan of the left. Cody, that's you. That's your job. The difference between you and them is the guests. You want to nitpick? You're doing deeper dives and you're asking better questions, and so what? You feel insulted when someone says that you're Joe Rogan of the left? What can I say? The left just thinks harder. We wouldn't be on the left if we were dumb as fuck. We would be voting for Trump. That's how it happened. We would be acting like Kamala was a savior instead of a stepping stone, like they portrayed us to be. I was on a call with them. I told him to his face that you are the thing to the... He didn't seem... He's like I've been in parts of my life. I feel like I've outgrown that attitude. And maybe what Cody really needs is some mushrooms. I don't know. I'm not in his head and I can't speak for him. Maybe he'd prefer some transcendental meditation. Just pick any word, dude. Don't make sure it's a nonsense word. This is for everybody. They want to charge you $1,500 for this shit, and I feel like that's a slap in the face and an insult to. It's such a blatant, like this is how. We know that religion is like this, so we're gonna do it too. It's so shameless, and not in that we're free from guilt kind of way. But like y'all know what you're doing, and you need to stop. So transcendental meditation lesson. In the middle of my rant, we're gonna take a little fucking detour so that I can tell you put your feet flat on the 90-degree angles. Knees in line with your second and third toe. Hips back in your seat. Sit upright, but also relaxed. Okay. Hands on your knees. Okay. Close your eyes. Skleebabop, bleeblop, skleeblop, bleeblop, skleeblop, bleeblop. Skeeblop, beeblop, skeeblop, beeblop, skeeblop, beeblop. Whatever has no meaning to you. It has to have nothing to make you ruminate. And you hold that for 15 minutes. You hold that for 15 minutes. And you do that twice a day. You do that right when you wake up. And you don't say those things out loud. I was demonstrating. You say that in your head. You focus as hard as you can on a short, meaningless phrase. Completely meaningless. Like the way that Katie perceives the Eggman. Crack! Woo! That was funny. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe Jonathan let Cody call Katie the egg woman. Yikes. Yikes, y'all. You should read. How did you not dig deeper? If that's your favorite band and you have all these lyrics memorized, how did y'all not dig deeper into the meaning of things? Why the Beatles, which is like, the Beatles is like breathing oxygen. It's like, liking the Beatles is like saying I like water. It's like, good for you, dude. We all got to stay hydrated. What are you talking about? Like, what else you got going on? It's like, I learned to tie my shoes today. It's like, cool, dude. Cool beans, man. Like, good. Now what's next? What's next, little buddy? You gonna look up some Sun Ra, maybe? No? That's a big jump. Never mind. Joe Meeks. My goodness. Joe Meeks. It's like, sure, he murdered his landlord after he had a #1 hit record. he had #1 hits for days. And when the when the Beatles came out, that didn't happen. And he built his own spring reverb in his apartment. Before there was spring reverb, he built his own spring reverb. Joe Meeks. They're about to release like 1,600. I don't remember. It's a huge number of tracks. And yeah. Get ready to fast forward. Here comes commercials. Cali brain dabs. Cali brain dabs. They look like this. I got this many. They're good for back pain, for insomnia, for just feeling good. They'll help with depression. They'll help with anxiety, kind of. They'll help with all kinds of stuff. Woo! CBD! Alright! Get your dabs today. Side effects may include decreased appetite, drowsiness, dry mouth, diarrhea, negative interactions with other medications, crankiness and changes in mood, depression, dizziness, hepatotoxicity, psychosis. Talk to your doctor to make sure that CBD is safe for you. This product is intended for human beings over the age of 21. Always dab responsibly, never dab and drive. And if you love my CBD, you'll love my AI crap on a shirt. Look how freaking cool this is. This actually came out really nice. I like it a lot. Here's my Christmas design. Here's my autumn design. It's pretty awesome. I like them. Check out my stores. They exist. And I was surprised by how comfortable these feel. I was expecting the material to be of poor quality, to be of whatever. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be bad. It's soft. It's like, feel this. Feel this right here. It's so soft. It's so soft. It makes me feel so warm on a nice autumn day. These are like the perfect pajamas right here. You can't really see what's going on. These are like the perfect pajamas right here. These are my everyday. I just wear them all the time. I can't stress enough how much I enjoy these clothes. Yeah. So, Joe Meeks killed his landlord and then himself, and I need a job. That's where we left off in this story. I'm in this phone call, this Google Hangout with Cody and Katie, and Jonathan is there, and several other people who were new to me but not to each other. And I definitely felt like everyone was kind of looking at me like, who the fuck's this guy? But it's not their. It's he paid like everyone else, so he gets to say his part like everyone else, kind of thing. At one point they were talking about. Let me back up. Katie has the cutest fucking dog in the whole wide world, and that was a big joy throughout. That was. I don't want to forget that. That's so important to the story. It supersedes anything else I'm about to say. That dog is adorable. and was definitely a highlight of the con. One of the noticeable things is that no one in particular was prepared, technologically prepared. That guy was out, and I believe them. There's a couple things. One, why not? Why aren't they all kind of on the same page with that? It's more likely that an hour is plenty, and they just want to get on with they just want to start their break, and I feel that. I don't. If that's true, I wish that they would just say it. If it's not, if that's not the case, and they really are inept in that particular way, it would be cool, not for me, because I don't know if I'll be there for a whole bunch of future hangouts. It depends on if the show gets any traction. If I can get the ball rolling on the show deal, then that's a whole nother matter. If I can get some traction, that would be something. Otherwise, if I get a job, maybe depends on the job. Stuff like that. If I can continue to support them, I will. I don't more streams of income. I want to show you the messages I sent, so I'm going to show these messages here.
What do? I'm Sancho. And there are many gifts in the world and many times as well. But I am Sancho.
And?
Are you Sancho? No, you are not Sancho. Neither is Scott Baio Sancho. Frank Gifford is not Sancho. But
You are Sancho.
That's right.
Cool stuff. All right. So I sent some messages, and I sent links. And I'm not sure to what extent they did or did not click on the links. And they sent this thing where they're like, hello, thanks for joining us. Hello, thanks for joining us last night. For legal reasons, we're unable to look at unsolicited pitches. This is because we may already be producing an idea that is similar to one in your document, and we could open ourselves up to potential litigation and copyright infringement. Right on. Yeah. So, okay. Even if this is unintentional, thank you for understanding, and thank you so much again for your support and for joining us at the Google Hangout. And you can see how that first message ties into what they're saying here in their last Even More News episode.
Do people know that your nickname amongst us is the Eagle?
I don't know.
There's no way they do. Yeah, I call Jonathan the Eagle because he's eagle-eyed in his sensing of notes and videos and like fact checks and things. And like,
I spot incredibly minor things, and I'm like, well, this is probably fine to release. No one's going to notice this, but actually, this happened in August 1906 instead of July. It was signed on July 1906, but wasn't ratified until.
That's the font you use. The font you use makes that noise.
Yeah,
when I read
absolutely. It's remarkable. And unfortunately, what he has done is make himself irreplaceable in that function.
Well, eagles are an endangered species, right? I don't know.
Right. So we protect him at all costs. But someday I would love to not bog Jonathan down with the last pair of eyes. But he's just so damn good at it. I don't know what to say, man.
Stop with those eagle eyes, you know?
And what they really mean, I mean, like, okay, so the thing they said about Jonathan aside, I mean, what they really mean by that response isn't that they're worried about a lawsuit, because as I've pointed out, a lawsuit is like not really on the menu. What they really mean is they probably read it. They want to take the ideas. They're not going to pay me for them or say thank you. I mean, that's what I interpret from that. The idea that I would sue them is ridiculous, and you're like, like, oh, just in case we had an idea similar to yours. It's like they didn't hear about ACN at all. The look of surprise on their face, they're like, what is that? Cody's like, I would love to see some video about that. And I did feel like maybe he was just skeptical about me. Maybe he thought I was a lying piece of shit, or I don't know. I'm sure he gets a lot of people talking shit. But yeah, it didn't. I don't know, man. It didn't seem like. That's not. But my interpretation of it isn't that they're worried about a lawsuit. I mean, if they're worried about a lawsuit, they read it for sure. If they're tripping on a lawsuit, then they read my list. They want to use my list. They don't want to pay me for it or acknowledge my existence in the process. They don't want to pay an extra person to do the reading. They'd rather spend their own time on it and have their own perspectives, and that's cool. That's why I gotta do what I gotta do, I guess. Right on. So I have had a few paragraphs of my own describing. You'll see that up on the screen there. Don't need to repeat myself. That got me pumped up. I had to think about things. I had to step back a minute and be like, well, wait a minute. I'm already trying to promote all this stuff online. I'm trying to promote my music. I'm already doing all that. I already have just a fuck ton of film experience, and I was taking classes and I didn't know what to do with those classes. It's like, I know how to edit. I can talk to I can speak from my heart into a camera, and I love to do reading and research. That's what I was doing in the first place, and I really want to do that for a living. So here we are. I mean, I don't feel like I don't even feel like I belonged in that group. You'll notice real quick that I was talking about ACN. That's my story. They didn't know nothing about that at that. So you figure for their streams of income, the Patreon is probably their primary funding, and that's potentially around 480,000. It's hard to guess. I really just you count the commas from the thing for the heroes, and that's times 100, and that's only like 2,300 a month only. That's my pay right there. That's what I need to cover my bills. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. So we'll ignore that for a while. The other one was like 7,500, and then you do the times 5 for the minimum, and you know that somewhere in the mix is more than that. You figure their final monthly pay is somewhere between 3,500 and 40,000, and then 40 times 12. That's how I came up with that. So that's their Patreon. Their estimates for their viewer count and their YouTube income ranges from like, how the fuck is it that low to, yeah, that makes sense. And the that makes sense number is somewhere between 300,000 and 600,000, depending on which source. I'll post a couple. I found a couple. But it's more believable that YouTube fucked them over and they're only making like 10,000 a year from YouTube. But you'll see from this press release that they have a big total, their social media presence is vast, and they count all that, and that's a good chunk of change too. And so you got to the merch, which as far as I can tell is through them. Maybe they have a human whose special job, dedicated job on the team is just to handle the merchandise. That's unclear to me at this time, and I don't really need to. I don't care enough to dig deeper, really.
Merchandising.
And I don't know how many sales they're making. And again, I don't care enough to dig deeper. But you figure, like, so if they made 1,000, if they sold 1,000 T-shirts a year, that's another, like, they're making like $3 to $10 off those T-shirts. They're not making a lot of money. Let's say $5. They're making $5 off those T-shirts. They're not making a whole lot of money. So you figure they sell 1,000 shirts. That's $5,000. I've never personally walked, like, I don't go out in the world and socialize, so that's part of it. But I haven't seen anyone wearing a Somewhere News shirt in public. So I don't know. I mean, when I go in the bar or whatever, it's like a lot of people. There's too many people. It makes me panic sometimes. What was I saying? Their merch. It's the same thing I do. It's how I make my. The only difference is they drew their pictures because they know they're talented. Someone on the team can draw. It would be kind of funny if they use AI after all they say against it. I wouldn't put it past them. For those unfamiliar with how Somewhere News got their start, they were originally, and I don't see how you would be, but just in case, they got their start with Cracked, which had 4 million subscribers, or not subscribers, 4 million daily visitors. That's a lot of daily visitors. That's a great jumping off point. That's about as much of a leg up as a person can get as a writer fresh out of college. That's about as much exposure as you can hope for in this day and age. Like, I haven't gotten that exposure with 600 songs. I don't know. Some people are just lucky, I guess. But some of it's hard work, eh? And I respect them for that. And it's not their fault when they got bought out by EW Scripts and all that stuff. Some keen-eyed observers might have noticed that it was like right after the election, and it was a very conservative. EW Scripts is very conservative, very old school. And they just shut down the entire video department because the entire video department was all anti-Trump all of 2015, all of 2016, and then he won anyways, and they're like, we got to censor this, we got to shut it down, and it was hella transparent. I mean, I don't know why they don't talk about it. I assume it's a non-disclosure agreement or something along those lines. But then, so they get bought, I guess they get acquired by Cast Media. And the whole team just goes over there, and you'll see they didn't do so good. Cast Media's not doing so good. It seems like they had a lot of bad business practices, which are not Cody and Katie's fault. It's not Somewhere News as a team's fault. It has nothing to do with them. I mean, it affects them, but the cause of it is not them. It's not on their shoulders. Even though they're suffering from the consequences, or I guess not suffering. They seem to be doing well from the fallout. They seem to be falling upwards from that. So then, I'm digging this deep anyways, I might as well start counting streams of income. And that's that's the motivation right there, to do it by myself. Like, why try to piggyback on their stuff, begging for $24,000 a year, when I could do it by my damn self and keep the whole caboodle? Like, fuck them. Right? I mean, it's 10 times more work. I'd have to do the work of the whole team or whatever, but like, yeah. It's like 30 times more pay. So That's nice. I mean, if that's the big problem. Like, they got to piggyback off of 4 million daily users, and I'm piggybacking off of their 880,000. Though I think I'm also going to be picking up a few of their haters, probably more of their haters than anyone else. I mean, I don't want to do that, but it's kind of a consequence, I guess. So you have the YouTube ad revenue, the corporate sponsored ad revenue from streaming on other channels besides YouTube, such as iHeartRadio and Apple Music, etc. You have their sponsored ads in social media platforms, the ad revenue from just posting on social media. You got their merch, and you got their Patreon. 7 streams of income off of one show, and that's not counting side projects. That's not counting appearances on other podcasts, like paid if they're paid to be a guest somewhere else. That's not counting Cody's music. That's other baskets. This is 7 streams of income collecting into one pond. It's really one of those things where I'm going to have to go back and watch all the stuff so I can find my specific complaints or my specific amendments to the details. I'm mostly concerned by the lack of color, the lack of black references. I'm concerned about the lack of solutions. I'm concerned that you're going a little harder on Israel than anywhere else, and there are other places to address. Even if you just squeeze a bunch of places where it's like all the other places that are committing apartheid, all the other colonial. If you squeeze it all into one episode or a 2-parter or what have you, just to get away from Israel for a week or two, but still address the same problem, that'd be rad. That'd be so cool. There's so much of that going on in the world. You've touched on it a lot, but it's alarming how many dictators are going around right now and how much power they have. And there's a whole lot of like behind the curtain stuff that we could talk about. There's a line, of course. There's a conspiracy theory line we don't want to cross. I respect and deeply appreciate. This is why I follow you so passionately. Is your journalistic integrity is on point for the most part. Technology isn't bad because technology is bad. Technology is bad because capitalism relies on technology to keep the populace contained. Sometimes technology is good, and we got to address it. We got to address, even if it's bad, we need to focus on it because it's going to hit us real hard and soon. It's going to hit us harder and sooner than 2025. And when you put those things in combination, oh my God. No. So, come on, y'all. Pick up the pace. It's like, come on. And like you'll never talk about regenerative agriculture. You'll mention it in passing here and there. And I do feel like maybe it was like a comment I posted, or maybe other people have brought it to your attention, but I don't feel like y'all give a flying fuck about like planting more trees or like the science behind making carbon sink. Carbon capture has been around for millennia. It's called coal. It's called biochar. It's called soil. We had this whole process of carbon capture called trees, and so we could. What's up with that? Why don't we talk about life more than wallowing in the fear? And I don't know. It's stressful. It's gotten to the point where it's not fun anymore. And even though things are horrible, there's so many reasons to feel optimistic. And maybe it's a consequence of just scrolling through the fucking news, scrolling through Twitter all day. Maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. I feel like you both didn't criticize Biden enough and criticized him too hard, and I can't even explain that. It's a feeling I have here and here, but it's not. They're not connecting through here, right? It's not coming out through here. So I don't know, man. I don't know, y'all. It's like, the more people talk about, he thrives on attention. The more we talk about Trump, the more power we give him. And it's good to call attention to things because we need to be aware of things. That's important. It's also good to kind of go around the corner and down the block a few ways and just see what's over there, and maybe, send a scout down the trail and be like, hey, well, here's some outcomes. They're not journalistic outcomes. This is warning. These are guesses, but they don't have to be Tim Pool guesses. They could be educated guesses. They could be guesses of people who've been in this business for 9 years and read about things every day and care deeply about the world as you do. What bothers me the most about it is like they're talking about like unsolicited pitches. Like, I get the idea of creating a big old barrier between yourself and the public. That is smart. That's good. That's just good business sense right there. Like, I should be doing the same damn thing. I guess I'm not as smart or careful. But I'll get there. I'm working on it. There's something to be said for accessibility, not telling people where you live or giving out personal information. Like, heck, I'm not 100% sure that Cody or Katie are their real names. Not 100%. It could be a Jason Pargin situation. Like, why not? Why not? It doesn't matter. It's good to have some separation and some distance, but also it's a YouTube show. It's a podcast. They were writers on Cracked, and they had their start, and there's a lot of luck and blessings that happen along the way, and they have all these fans, and we're all eager to talk to them, and we have, we're watching the show. We're watching the show because we're interested in the topics, right? You don't want us losing interest. You don't want to be so caught up in a bubble that you don't have any room for outside feedback. And there wasn't really an avenue for that. So that's where I was like, well, I should get on this Hangout. I should spend the $100 and get on a Hangout. I've always wanted to meet them, and I know not to meet my heroes, because just this year, for my birthday, I went to go see Afro Man, and it was like the biggest fucking, like, I was so excited to see Afro Man. You have, well, it was just sundown in a small white town. They call it Eastside Palmdale. Well, when the Afro Man walked through the white land, houses went up for sale. Hell, when I was standing on the corner. Okay. Hush, hush, somebody is calling my name. Take a pound and flip it like a pancake. No. I wanted to meet this fool for like 10 plus years. I moved to Palmdale partly. I mean, it wasn't like the reason, but it was like partly it had a big influence on the decision why there and not here. You know, why this place and not this other place. Palmdale, come back to me. He sang that too, dude. And I was singing along in the crowd loud enough for everyone to hear. And that dude had like a weed-shaped guitar, like a weed leaf, and it was all like shiny and green. And he's just shredding. I mean, shredding, dude. When he's bragging about how he can play like Hendrix, he's only kind of lying. He's lying in the sense that Hendrix is Hendrix, and that's its own. He's his own guy, and that's his own special level. That's his own thing right there. But as far as anyone else can just shred on a guitar, he's as good as any of them. He's easy. He's just like he's just killing it, dude. And then like in the middle of this fucking performance, like I'm about to come. Like, no, seriously, this show was amazing. I was about to come, and he gets on stage and he says, right, I hope y'all are voting for Trump, something, fuck Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh no. Oh God. Oh Jesus fuck. Where am I? What am I doing here? What have I done with my life? He's from Palmdale. He doesn't know about no LA shit. He doesn't know about no Blood and Crip and fucking Black Panther shit. He doesn't know about none of that Huey Newton shit. He grew up around white people. He had to like assimilate. Oh yeah, he moved from Lancaster, Palmdale to Mississippi. Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh no. So I knew not to meet my heroes. And the hangout is a lot like the show in certain respects, but with less technical competence. And this guy Will spoke most of the time. I'm not sure who Will is. I may have been like 2 minutes late or something because I missed who Will is, and I was looking at the credits, but that doesn't tell you much. I could do research on this, but that's just me Facebook stalking some guy. It's too stressful. The point is that I had this list of 45, 50 things. When I counted it, it was 45, and I've adjusted it in back and forth since, so I don't know if it's 43 or 50 or 47. We're going to call it 45 from here on out. I don't know when this is going to be in the video, so we're going to call it 45. I had all these topics. I had a year's worth of topics. And they're like, the only message that they've said back to me is this super impersonal form letter. It just makes me sad all over again. It's just like an echo of the Afroman thing, but I'm more sad about the Afroman thing. It's just like projecting. I bought a shirt and I bought weed from him. I got my weed sign from Afroman, and I'm holding on to the memory of it, but I'm probably not going to be listening to Afroman very much in the future. That's like depressing as fuck. Like, it's just, it's upsetting. So they sent me this form letter, and they're like, we don't accept unsolicited pitches. And I wasn't thinking pitches. The pitches weren't in my mind. I forgot. Forgive me, I'm not actually in the business. I'm business adjacent. I've studied it profusely, and I'm obsessed with it. But in this instance, I was just a fan meeting my heroes, and I had a handful of things I just really wanted to say because I really wanted you to hear me. I needed to be heard, and I said that at the beginning. I need to be heard. And so now I gotta have a show. I gotta have my own show, I guess, because I don't fit in with them. Partly because I'm Jewish, and partly because I don't like the Beatles. And partly because I do like capitalism, but not for capitalistic reasons. and I have a lot of complex opinions that I can't just put into a soundbite. They're probably going to take an episode to explain each. And I don't know how much time we have before the whole world goes to fucking shit. Before all the infrastructure goes away, there's no such thing as the internet, there's no such thing as telephones. I don't know if it'll get to that point, but there's a real chance it'll get to that point. And they were fucking around on a whole bunch of other bullshit, and they missed out on some significant ideas and topics that I would have loved to discuss with them 2 years ago, or a year ago, or 6 months ago, or whenever the fuck. And it broke as fuck all the time, and I don't know if it's worth it to spend $100 to meet my heroes just to say, hey, look at these things. Hey, think about it this way. Hey, what if we battled this on an economic front? Instead of saying money is the root of all evil, what if we acknowledge that money is a tool and then use it as a weapon against our oppressors? Because it's a currency. It's not a river. See? Anyways, that's just some bullshit. Whatever. I'm in flow now. I'm just rambling. Unsolicited pitch is my ass. Okay, let's go there first, and then, because there's two my asses in this thing, because they don't accept unsolicited pitches because they're afraid I might sue. I gotta do it. Sue my ass. I'm one of your biggest fans. What kind of monster would I be if I sue? The name of this document is Some More News. This is what I said. It's like the name of this document is Some More News articles I want to see. There's some more news episodes I want to see. I want to hear you say it. Because y'all just do that thing with the research, and it's fucking like, it's so on point sometimes. Most of the time. Except for when it's not, and then it's like fucking Gandalf battling the Balrog when he's supposed to be doing some other shit, or I don't know. Noah's battling the Balrog, and Gandalf is just like hanging out with the hobbits, is what's going on. You were supposed to be Gandalf, and there's a fucking Balrog. And what the fuck, man? What in the fuck? Man. This is all the penises. Men have 4 penises. Real men have 4 penises. If you only have 1 penis, you're not a real man. Even if your penis is like this big, if you have 4 of them, you're a real man. That's how it's going to be when the aliens take over. I'm off track. I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. For legal reasons, my black ass. Come on now. For legal reasons, I'm going to sue you for copyright infringement. No one owns an idea. Some of my things, like, look at this. I'm going to show you. Look at this. Look at it. Look, I can't copyright the concept of Roman Empire. That's not something copyrightable. If I owned the Roman Colosseum, the Vatican cannot copyright the Roman Empire. What the fuck were you thinking? I almost believe you when you say you didn't read it. It depends on what your first few episodes are, because the very top of the list, I'll have an idea on if you clicked on shit or not. I'll have an idea of shit. I'll know. It'll be obvious if you start talking about Stranger in a Strange Land in January that you saw my shit, read it immediately, because that wasn't the turnaround that you were on track for, Cody. You were on track, maybe at the fastest you would have figured it out by March or April. So if you saw it and you do an episode about it in January, I'm going to see that shit because I'm a fan of your show, and I'm going to see that it's the top of my list, so you at least click the link, and I'm going to beat you to it, motherfucker. I already filmed the episode. Alright, so let's get back to that whole unsolicited pitches bullshit, because this is kind of important for everybody. This is This is a whole thing. We're probably gonna have to do a whole episode about it. It's not even on the list yet, so we'll talk about it when we talk about it. Right? All right. Unsolicited pitches. Again, my Palestinian ass. What the hell, man? So if I was already a writer, so if I'm already have a job as a writer, then what the fuck do I need you for, man? What the fuck do I need y'all for? I was talking to Cody specifically there, but this is Katie, this is David Christopher Bell, this is Jonathan, this is whoever from Marcos, this is y'all. If I was, right, this is what was it, Podcast Live on the stock market. Every time he says anything against the stock market, just ignore him. Just ignore that. Just click away from that. That's the end of that episode for you. Because he's saying don't buy his stock. Don't invest in their company. He doesn't believe in his own words. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll talk about that too. But back to the story at hand. So I've had a number of these things going on. A number of these where I have an idea, I have a plan, I ain't got no money to even start a plan, to even demonstrate a concept of a plan. And it's one of my fucking least favorite phrases in the film industry when they're like, it's a proof of concept. Well, you know, if you made a film and you're talented enough, then people will see it, and that's proof of your talent. You don't need a proof of concept. You need to just do it. You don't need a proof of concept. You need to just get there and do the thing. So if you can film a proof of concept, you can make a different movie with a lesser budget and prove that you are capable of making any film, and then say, I have a better movie. This is exactly how Christopher Nolan sold Following and flipped Following into Memento. Okay, he showed this really good movie that he made with 3 people in 2 apartment buildings and a street. And he made this amazing fucking movie. And he made it on the weekends because he had a day job and he didn't give a fuck about anything, but he had to make this movie. He had to make this movie exactly how he had to make this movie. There's barely anyone in it. It's a brilliant movie. It's Following is still one of his best. It's so good. He shows that to a group of investors, some of which were people who invested in Following, and he tried to get some more people because he's trying to build a bigger budget. He's like, my next movie is going to be like this. We're going to film it backwards. You know, this is about a guy who can't remember it's about an assassin who can't remember who he is. He pitches it hard. You know, he's like, he gets right to the exciting part of the story, and he says it in one sentence. Right? It's not a proof of concept. He made a movie called Following, and he wanted to make a movie called Memento. So he made a movie called Following. And it's a really good movie that everyone should watch. Unsolicited pitches. Right. So if you're not going to fund my Following, I'm just going to make my own Following. And then so sometimes I blink like this, but that was a wink. And that's going to happen sometimes. You'll have to tell them apart on your own. Good luck with these. But I'm going to get my own Following, I guess, because if I wrote that episode, and if I took the time to do that research, then I might as well just fucking film it on my own without you. If I got to the point where you would notice me and solicit my thing, it's already too late. I've already evolved beyond you. Now, because of that one sentence was all it took. I have many gripes about some more news. Like, you know, I don't feel like they cover enough of the positive side of technology. I think that would be really interesting. And you know, the Israel thing, it bothers me. It would be nice, just for a little bit of relief. It would be nice for a little, because I'm already stressed out about Israel. I have my own perspective about it. Again, we'll address that, and I would love to hear about some other colonially oppressed countries. You know, what's up with Samoa these days? What's up with Taiwan? Why don't you ever talk about the Uyghurs? The Uyghurs. Am I pronouncing that right? I really liked, I think that was a Daniel O'Brien episode. Why don't you ask Daniel O'Brien about the Uyghurs? Could we just, like, the Israel thing is the Israel thing, and it's bad. It's not good. It's bad. Nothing good to. I have nothing good to say about the current situation. May Netanyahu rot in hell. However, could we just, as an autistic Jew who relies on your show for mental health and support, would you please not talk about Israel for like a couple of weeks in a row for me to have a vacation? I need a vacation, because then I can't go back to your old shows, because like, which old show are you not angry about Israel? And you, a little bit of breathing room, please. Just please. Just, that's a whole nother episode. But as a Jew, there's this weird feeling where I don't feel safe among Jews right now. I don't feel safe because some of them voted for Trump. I don't feel safe. Like the Israeli thing, yeah, I don't feel safe from the right or from the left, right? I would love to be like, I'm a colored person too, which technically I am. I'm technically Middle Eastern, and I want to be like, I'm safe among BIPOC. You know, I'm safe. I'm ethnic too, right? But then they're like, your people sold out my people in this case, in that case, and I'm like, well, wasn't there for that, and I don't know about it. And sorry, I keep hitting the table. Stimming. Hey, what's up with you guys constantly criticize what? Sorry. Stimming. What's up with you guys constantly using, oh, he's just a psycho. Oh, he has mental health problems. Oh, he must have had a bad childhood, to describe every politician. I mean, fuck you, Cody. Fuck you to death, Cody. Fuck you to death in your fucking saggy ass. I hate you, man. I hate you for that. No, between the Israel thing and the mental health thing, fuck you to death. Alright. I think I got out of it. No, fuck you to death. It bothers me. Okay, I agree that billionaires are problematic. I agree that a system of money sucks. There's an underlying, let's call it evolutionary reason why human beings have money. And it's because socially, we've evolved. Socially, we have developed into a society where socially a society. That's so stupid. I bet you'll criticize that. I bet you'll nitpick stuff like that instead of digging deeper. But anywho, socially, we have developed into a society where we are, I can't get over that. I keep saying it. I'm going to leave this in. I'm totally leaving this in. Our society has developed in such a way that we can organize our resources and divide them accordingly. We can send them places where people need them. Cody, with the advent of money, I got this thing. It's the doctor and the farmer. I'm still working on it. It's a bad metaphor, but at some level, it's the thing. And we'll get to this in the episode about. I'll touch on this more on the episode about Elon doesn't grok. That's the title of the episode. Elon doesn't grok. It's about Stranger in Strangeland and how Elon's probably read it exactly one time, and then only remembered the parts that he masturbated to. What was I talking about? Oh, the doctor and the farmer. So, in Stranger in Strangeland, Jubal Harshaw is both a doctor and a lawyer. And I think about that a lot. I think about why he thinks that those are the most important professions, why the author felt that those were the most important professions. Now, in the sense that the character needs both of those people, he needs the best of those people, that's all significant. That's all very good shit. In real life, we really need more of like a farmer and an engineer, or a farmer and a doctor, or, you know, multiple people with all different flavors, and everyone does their own thing. This is a metaphor. This is a parable. The farmer and the doctor. They both are responsible for sustaining human life. Sorry. I'm so itchy today. The big light is bothering the fuck out of me. I'm tired. The farmer and the doctor. They both sustain life. You really mostly only need the doctor when you're in an emergency. I mean, you need them for other things, but ideally, you're responsible for your body. You know what is healthy for you. Doctors are responsible for researching that stuff and describing it to you if you're ignorant of that. But ideally, you, on some level, your day-to-day health is your responsibility. And if you're sick, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you're in your condition, your familiar condition, and you're either trying to improve on that condition gently, or you're trying to maintain that condition in sort of homeostasis kind of deal. You're just trying to be yourself in your environment. You're responsible for that health, right? That's where the farmer comes in. He provides you with fresh vegetables, grass-fed meats, etc., etc. It's the farmer's job, responsibility, to make sure that the food is healthy enough to keep humans alive. And that's partly why we don't respect farmers right now, and that's why we don't respect the land right now, is because we don't think of we're not connected to our food in that way. Money, I'm so off track. Money is valuable. That sounds so stupid. I'm sorry. The reason that we evolved dollar bills over barter is because if a farmer broke their leg, they would have to give this one doctor their entire freaking harvest. What's a human life worth? What's your life worth to you? If you don't have this leg right now, if you have to get it sawn off, if you can't get a prosthetic, if you can't farm, and you're a farmer, if you can't farm anymore, what you gonna do? And that's, by the way, Cody, if you want to connect to your fucking audience, you could maybe think about stuff like that, and maybe get into what can they do. Answer those questions. Actually answer the question. What can they do? Them, as their personal responsibility thing. Instead of, crying about what Elon Musk is doing all day. Instead of just doom scrolling through fucking X. I hate calling it that. It's Twitter. Doom scrolling through Twitter all fucking day. All day. Clearly. Why don't you practice some guitar, Cody? Why don't you practice some guitar or something? Why don't you learn about some microtonal stuff, expand your mind a little bit? Why don't you, God, you sure do talk about the fucking Beatles a lot. You make it, I understand that they're symbol of peace. There are other symbols of peace out there. There are other symbols of peace in the 60s. There's a lot of stuff that we can reference that's valuable. I mean, I have some vague appreciation of the Beatles. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. I hate the fucking Beatles. That's my personal problem. And I know a lot of people say, oh, why? You have to like the Beatles. And I'm like, that is why I hate the Beatles. Because I have to. I have to. I have to. Have to. I don't get consent in this matter. It's like the Beatles or what? Death? Like the Beatles or be ostracized from society. You're not welcome here because you don't appreciate them. Well, okay. I went ahead. I read a 40-hour freaking audiobook about George Martin. He's a wonderful man. I read another one about Glenn Johns. It was only 6 hours, but let me tell you, he packed it in. I got about as much value from that 6-hour book as from the 40-hour book. I mean, yeah, I got more from the 40-hour book. Come on. But really, they're pretty freaking. They're pretty fucking similar. You know, they're not similar, but the value that I received for my time, I appreciate both books. The Glenn Johns Sound Man, and then I remember the second one was Sound Pictures. I'll put it up on the screen. You'll see it. But yeah. What was I saying? It's annoying. It's annoying. I don't feel known or seen or understood. I feel ostracized. And what really sucks about that is I agree with almost everything you say. I watch your show religiously because I'm like, this is a sermon. This is my church. These are my preachers. This is my pope. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I follow your show when Wednesday happens, I'm there. I'm not always first. I've tried a couple times. I'll sit there sometimes at 9:55. It's mostly due to ADHD that I forget between 9:55 and 10, and it'll be 10:03. I'm like, damn it, I missed it again. You got to address all this stuff, and I want to do an episode about this too. I have autism. I have ADHD. I have not been diagnosed with ADHD. I used to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but there's no fucking way. When they revise their diagnosis, they're like, oh, you clearly have Asperger's syndrome, which has now been reclassified as the autistic spectrum disorder. And the main reason to classify all these disorders is to sell you a bunch of fucking pills because they want to treat the symptoms and not the disease. If you understood how easy it was to treat the disease, you would not fuck with pills. I mean, not easy. It's not easy. Sorry. Whew. I'm so sorry. It's important to be precise with language. I try my hardest and I fail many times a day. Expect it. Where was I? It's simple. So simple. It's so simple. Why? Simple. No. It's not easy. It takes day in, day out, hard fucking work. It barely treading water to exist. And that's not just financially. I'm talking about mentally. I'm talking about what it's like in my head. Go listen to Nap Time, Cody. That time you screamed in my ear about how you were having a panic attack and playing it up for laughs, Cody. It's up in my song, Nap Time, as part of what it's like in my head to hear these cars driving by in the background because I'm too broke to afford a fucking soundproof studio, Cody. I'm not $1 million fucking industry, Cody. I'm not fucking publicly traded on the stock market, Cody. Where was I? There's nothing wrong with having a little money in your pocket. And there's nothing wrong with giving people a little financial advice if you figured your own way out the hood. Then there's nothing wrong with giving people behind you a few pointers along the way. There's nothing wrong with telling people, here's what I did, and here's what I'm doing, and here's how I plan to get better. Here's how I got to where I am. Here's what you can do about it. I'm I'm trying to do it now before I forget myself, like certain people have, perhaps, forgotten themselves. You know, they don't talk about how they can't afford a house now that they've bought a house, which I appreciate their honesty, but also, what did you do? And it's a simple answer. They have a podcast. They have a podcast. They have 800,000 listeners. They told their truth from their heart, and that's how they did that. They talked about topics that they're passionate about, and they've chosen to bias. I don't know to what extent they genuinely believe it, but I feel it feels genuine. Again, I follow the show all the time. The disillusionment, disgruntlement that's going on right now, that's a whole nother matter. That's its own thing. I got my own problems. What was I talking about? Mental health. I wish that you'd stop using mental health as a slur. I know that it's hard to insult people when you can't insult anything about them because they're all going to be offensive to your audience. I'll compromise with you. You can call those fucking lunatics any fucking thing you want. You can call them fat, old, lazy, call them any old thing you want. Call them crazy. Call them an asshole. They are. They're greedy ghouls. You're right. They're evil fucking assholes. And you can call them anything. And I'm okay with that. Every once in a while, pay homage to mental health. Talk about the suffering of the people. Talk about actionable solutions. I got a good episode about that. It's going to cover some books. It's going to cover some books I already read, and I already have them all typed out. I'm all ready to go. You know what I mean? That's the whole deal. Where was I? Billionaires are not your friends. They are your competition. Your competition, Cody. My competition. The audience's competition. If we want to win, we will compete with the best advantage we have, which is unity. The best thing that we can do is talk to our neighbors. The best thing that we can do is make some new friends. I don't have very many friends right now. I've shunned a lot of people because I was like, oh, I didn't want to talk to you before because you're a Trump supporter, but I was, like Katie talks about, I was friendly with you because I depended upon other humans for my survival. I need to have a new strategy for that. And then some people, they're my friends. We go way back, but we never really talk about politics. We're too busy talking, just shooting the shit. So now the shit is politics. And I found out some shit. And I'm like, oh, I can't talk to you anymore. And that makes me really sad. But it's also like I can't be seen with someone who voted for this fucking bullshit. And that's the other thing, though, is that there's more important things going on in the world besides politics. There's more important things going on in the universe besides what they tell you on the fucking news. The entirety of the news, right, left, center, it doesn't matter. It's someone else's information that they're putting into your mind, right? Now, if you read a book, they're just writing a book or a podcast. They're speaking their truth as best as they know how, and then it is up to us to say, hey, does this vibrate with my frequency? Does this align with my chakras? Now, you don't have to say it like that. You don't have to say it in any corny liberal way if you don't want to. I understand that's problematic for some people. But the important thing to do is be like, hey, is this what are my values? Is this who I am? Is this what I care about? If you care about your family and you care about not being broke anymore, then is voting for someone who is so divisive and makes you want to not talk to your family anymore the deal, right? Is voting for someone who's only gonna fucking take all the money for themselves and not share it with you the deal? Is voting for someone who's going to prevent you from doing what you need to do through laws or whatever by just changing it up so it's all for them and none for you. Did you really want that? Do you want that? I feel like they hardcore dropped the ball. Like, just like really, like they said it in Are We Stupid? It's like, yeah, y'all are ignorant as fuck. Y'all miss some important fucking, because it's not news. It's not in the headlines. It's between them or away from them. It has nothing to do with what you're scrolling through. It's not about that. It's about the heart. It's about, how do we fix this? What can we do to fix this? It's an important thing. And I more than anything else, what has pissed me off is that they whine and they cry. They saying all these truths that vibrate with my frequency. That I'm like, oh my God, yes. They talked me out of supporting Israel. Do you know how heavy that is? Do you know how heavy that is? I've been indoctrinated. You converted me back in March. Me. Everything you say after that, you're not gonna get more people on your side. You're only gonna push the new recruits away all over again. You know what I mean? It's like now you've pushed so hard when you already like, you got me, and you got me convinced. And you pushed so hard after that for months that now I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hold up. Because, I mean, even when I first saw that video, you can see a comment I left about how you missed a spot. You missed a couple details. You didn't quite do all of your research. Not quite. And then I had to look deeper, and then I'd be like, wait a minute. Yeah, This is more of a case of confirmation bias than anything else. You had me fooled at a certain point. You know what I mean? Because you had me convinced, and I believed you, and then you kept pushing, and then I felt threatened as a Jewish person. I started to feel threatened and worried as a Jewish person. Then I was like, well, wait a minute. What else is going on here? Because you didn't really talk about Theodore Herzl, and you didn't really talk about why the Palestinians lost that land. I don't know. You had me convinced, and you could have stopped. You could have stopped 4 episodes sooner, and been okay. But now I have my own, as a free mind, I now have my own thoughts on the matter. I've kept some of the old, I have some of the new, I have to make a whole episode about it. It's going to take more brain power than I've expressed in a very long time, and I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. I've got a list here. I've got a list. Here's the order of the list that it's in. I've got other lists too. That'll scroll here. Yeah, so the point I'm making is we got a year. We got about 1 year left before there's nothing left, unless we do something. And the best thing that we can do is be our best selves that we can be. And I'm going to do my best. I'm not a good leader. I'm going to do my best to teach you what I know, so that we don't end up like this in 4 years. Because I don't want to deal with this for the rest of my life. I can't deal with this the rest of my life, y'all. Well, that's all I got. I tried to write you an extraordinary song. This is all I got today. Oh, yeah.